Hey, what's going on, guys? Chad here with Greenlight Shooting, and welcome to this new product review. So today we're talking about the Trakline gun belt. I think it's the X2 gun belt, and it's made by Core Essentials. So this is a pretty cool new belt. It utilizes kind of a new belt technology. They call it the Trakline. Essentially, it's kind of built on a ratchet system rather than kind of the holes on your normal leather belt. And we'll go into all that in just a little bit, but that's the belt. Core Essentials came to me recently and they said, hey, would you be interested in reviewing this? And I accepted. Normally, I'm a little wary about taking on product reviews because, when a company sends you out a product, sometimes it's hard to be really, truly non-biased about the product. So I'm gonna do my very best in being, non-biased about this, coming from a customer point of view, and let you guys know what I think about it. I will say I did this review yesterday, so it's gonna jump to some stuff we shot yesterday, and it'll kind of outline how the reviews will be set up. But yesterday when I filmed this, I wasn't aware of the differences between the gun belt and their normal Trakline belt, because the instruction manual I got was just kind of the normal one. So there will be a couple things that need to be updated in that video. I'm just gonna put like annotations or whatever, so just keep an eye out for those. It should be pretty standard stuff. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up, so in a second when my clothing changes, you know why. Okay, yeah, let's just dive into this and let's get going. Alright guys, so I'm going to tell you kind of how I'm going to format this review here. So I'm going to do it in two different parts, so two separate videos. In this first video, I'm just going to be talking about the belt itself. What makes it different, what makes it cool, the materials, the specs, how it works, and it's kind of a different belt. You've kind of got to put it together. So I'm going to go through the instructions with you, and I'm actually going to put it on and figure out just how it works in general and what I think of that whole process. And then on the second part of the review, I'm going to wear it out in public. I'm going to be carrying. I'm going to do inside the pant. I'm going to do outside the pant. I'm going to do, like at the range, hopefully, and, driving, standing up, running, stuff like that. I just want to see how this belt holds up in all those different situations and see if what it has to offer really has some function, or if it's kind of more of a gimmick. So I'm really interested to see how these come together. And yeah, man, let's just dive into this. Before we get into how to use the belt and stuff like that, I want to talk about the belt itself. What sets it apart? Why is this belt so cool compared to other leather belts? So with most leather belts, I think the biggest thing is you've got, as far as changing sizes, I think we all know how it works. There's a couple different holes in it. You slide it through the buckle and you put the little metal prong in what hole you want. And there's, 7 to 10 holes normally, and they're about an inch apart. So that's kind of your size modularity. Now with this belt, you've actually got 40 different sizes, and they're a quarter of an inch apart. So it gives you a lot more control over the fit of your belt. And another cool thing is if you want to change the size of your belt, like in public or something, say it's too tight and you want to change it, a normal leather belt, you've got to take it out of your belt loops, change that metal prong, and it's kind of a big process. If you're in public, it's a little awkward. But with this Trakline belt, what happens is it's kind of built on a ratchet system. So as you pull it tighter, it's hitting those different quarter-inch increments, and it will just lock wherever you want. If you want to loosen it, there's just a button kind of on the buckle that you let go, and then you can slide it back and forth and hit what increment you want. So it's a really discreet, nice way to change sizes on the belt. Now, I'll be honest, when I first heard that was its big claim to fame, I didn't really know how much that really made sense. For the general public, it's not that big of a deal to change sizes on a belt because you're really not doing it in public that often. That being said, for the gun community, for people who are carrying guns, who are, even like a service kind of person or something like that, or shooting competition, something like that, it actually makes a pretty big difference. Because you think about it, you've got an inside the waist or holster or something like that, you're standing up and it's got a certain fit, and you've got it finally fitting just right. And then you sit down in a car, you're going to be in the car for the next hour, and it might be digging into your side or whatever, and it might just be a little too tight. With a normal belt, like I said, you've got to kind of make that big adjustment. With this belt, it's a really simple, and it might just be a quarter or a half of an inch of a difference, and it just makes all the difference. You stand up, you get out of the car, you pull it a little bit, and it tightens right back up. So I do think for the gun community, this is a very cool, innovative system. That's a little bit more about the belt. The specs of the belt I should talk about. So I've got the instruction manual here, and I don't claim to be a leather expert by any means, but it does say in here that the belt is made out of full grain leather, and then in parentheses it says that that's the best available. So apparently full grain leather is pretty good. It also says that it gets better with age, so that's cool to know that this is a belt that will last. It says with the different buckles here that they are made out of either solid stainless steel or a very high quality steel alloy. So that's another cool thing. I like to know that they are built with good quality. Let's go through these instructions here, because as you can see on this belt, there's different sizes, right? So you've got a different size from, let's see, all the way down from 28 to a 54-inch waist. So it gives you lots of changes. You've got one big giant thing of leather here, and you're supposed to cut it down to what size you need it to be. So let's check this out on the instructions and see what it says. And it says, sizing your new belt. It fits waist sizes 24 inches to 44 inches. So that's interesting. It doesn't quite follow what we saw on the belt. But anyways, we've got a couple different pictures here. Number one says, place blunt end of belt into buckle receptacle and clamp firmly. Firmly? Firmly. Okay, so we have two different buckles here. We've got that solid one, and we've got that open face one. I think I'm gonna rock this open face one first, see what it looks like. And then as you guys can see here, we've got some spikes. So you flip those spikes over, and I think that's what's clasping onto the leather. So on the belt here, we've got two different ends. We've got a kind of pretty finished end as well as the blunt end, like it said. So we're gonna stick that blunt end in here. Let's make sure that our numbers are facing up. Okay, so we're gonna go blunt end into this side of this buckle. Okay, so now it's on there. That thing is super steady. I'm pulling really hard on it and it's not going anywhere. So, okay, cool. Step 2, thread belt around waist from left to right with release tab on underside of buckle. So, should have wore better pants here apparently for this video, but these will do. And release tab, belt will click through buckle and lock at precise waist size. If too long, determine how many inches to trim off. We recommend belt tip extend through the first belt loop. Okay, so I'm gonna put this through. All right, you can hear that ratchet going. So that's that ratchet system they've got. So now what? I feel like this is on backwards because that ratchet's only right here. I guess that's what would change by clipping that thing off. But it doesn't really line up, so let's see. If we took it out, use index finger to activate release tab, remove belt, open belt receptacle, and separate from buckle. Using sharp scissors, trim excess belt from the opposite end, from the end opposite the track. Please trim with caution. If you're unsure, go long. So that was interesting. I don't know why they had me put that on in the first place, because that's didn't really tell me anything. I'm gonna say that I'm gonna go through these numbers and cut it at where I want it to be and put the belt buckle on, and then maybe we can kind of fine tune it from there. So let's do that first. Okay, so I just trimmed this to 36. I have probably like a 30 to a 32 inch waist, but it said go long if you weren't sure. So I'm gonna 36. Let's see if this fits a little bit better. Slide this guy in and clamp this down. Let's see if we get anything better. So that is a little bit better. This is pretty long. I probably want to cut off another 2 inches off of this, I'd say, and that'll be good. But as you can hear, it is ratcheting, and then to loosen it, you just got a button you're pulling. So let's cut off 2 more inches and then we'll move forward. Okay guys, so I found myself a good fit here. I trimmed it to 34 inches. Like I said, I have between probably a 30 and a 32 inch waist. 34 is what I ended up going with because it gives me enough room to tighten it all the way down. But if I wanted to go looser for, inside the pant, holster, or anything like that, that gives me that option. So that's kind of a good range for me. Again, I think it's a pretty cool setup. I will admit that the release button's in kind of a weird spot for me. I guess maybe it'll just take some getting used to. It's kind of small, it's kind of awkward, but hopefully, once I get used to it, it really does seem like a cool, innovative new style for belts. Yeah, that's kind of my first impressions of it. Another first impression is I haven't checked the website, but if they had a brown one available, that'd be legit, because I wear brown stuff a lot more than I wear black stuff, so I'd like a brown belt. So I checked out their website, and unfortunately they do not have any other colors for the gun belt. The gun belt comes in black only. For their other belts, they do have some other colors, so hopefully they introduce some other colors than this in the future. One of the biggest reasons I say that is because they make this very clear that it's not a duty belt, it's not a tactical belt. It's supposed to be an everyday carry belt. Well, if this is something I'm going to be wearing every single day, I'd at least like the option to change between black and brown. So, I don't know, maybe a little nitpicky there, but that's something that I would like to see introduced in the future. But yeah, man, overall, the belt is very, very solid. It's made very well. I do want to mention one thing on Amazon. I don't know if they have a gun belt up there, but I was doing some research on Amazon on them. They have their Evolve belt, which is built along the same Trakline technology as this one. And it has a 4.9 out of 5-star review, so with 117 reviews. So really cool. Everyone seems really, really stoked and happy with it that have owned it and used it for a while. So, I think that says a lot about the belt technology anyways. One other thing that's nice about them is they do have a guarantee. So you order it, you get 30 days money back guarantee. If you don't like it, send it back for 100% refund. And then a 1-year warranty, so against like manufacturer defects and stuff like that. So, but from what I can tell, this thing is built very, very sturdily, and it should last an awful long time. One other thing I didn't mention because of the confusion with the gun belt is the 2 belt buckles that I showed in this video, I guess, are the only 2 that will work with this belt. They're the X1 and the X2 buckle. So make sure you're using those if you're using them with the gun belt. So yeah, man, that's kind of my thoughts on this kind of first part 1. Price-wise, you're looking at $60 for this belt on their website. So $60 is kind of a lot for a belt, I guess. I mean, it depends, I mean, $60 for a belt that's going to last you, in theory, for the rest of your life is super, super cool. I don't think that's a bad price at all. What I think is even a better price is 10% off that $60. So I worked with these guys and made sure that I got you guys something as well out of this video. So use this promo code right here on their website, and you can get 10% off of this gun belt right here. So really cool thing for them to do, and big thanks to Core Essentials for hooking up the Greenlight viewers. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. Hopefully this video was fun to watch and informative and stuff like that. If you're looking for a new gun belt, make sure to stay tuned for part 2 when we get this thing out in the field carrying and see how it really holds up in different situations. So yeah, we'll catch you then. Thanks so much for watching. Check out these other 2 videos if you haven't seen them, and we will see you next time.